Sheriff, I don't mean any disrespect, but you ought to be ashamed of that. How can you possibly be for public safety if you hate our immigration laws so much that you would have let a convicted murderer back on the street? Do you really hate immigration laws that much?
Senator, it's not a matter of that I hate immigration law.
You could have fooled me, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service.
Wow. Okay. Just wow. If that snippet didn't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will. What you just watched is exactly the kind of thing people in power think they can get away with, until someone like Senator John Kennedy sits across from them and says, "Not today." I've watched a lot of political hearings, and Kennedy is one of the few people in American politics who actually comes prepared. He doesn't bluff. He doesn't grandstand without receipts. He walks in with your own words in his hand and makes you answer for them. And that sheriff? He had no good answer. None. We're going to watch the full video together, and I'm going to break down every moment for you, because this isn't just about one sheriff in one county. This is about local officials deciding they get to pick which laws they enforce and which ones they quietly ignore. And the people who pay the price? Everyday citizens. If you believe every elected official should be accountable to the people they serve, stick around because this one is worth it. Before we dive in, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment. Should local sheriffs be able to ignore federal immigration detainers? Let's get into it.
Sheriff, you're sheriff of Durham County.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful parish. Or we call our counties parishes, beautiful county. Is it at least part of your job to protect the public?
Yes, it is.
Okay. You believe that vetting people at the border is racist, do you not?
I'm sorry?
You believe that vetting people at the border is racist, do you not?
No, I've never said that. I believe that having secure borders is important, and we have processes that allow individuals to come into the country the right way. Absolutely.
You believe that people should be able to violate federal immigration laws without consequences, don't you?
No, sir, I do not. I believe that anyone who violates federal or state law needs to be held accountable, and there need to be consequences.
You don't believe in cooperating with ICE, do you?
I believe in cooperating with federal authorities, as I do. A number of federal agencies I cooperate with, and I certainly would cooperate with ICE if they would cooperate with me.
Okay. You were elected in 2018, Sheriff, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. On April 18, 2018, you gave an interview with a media organization called Indie Week. Do you remember that?
I'm familiar with the paper, yes.
Okay. Here's what you said. I'm quoting you, your words, not mine. I disagree with the incumbent sheriffs. That's the guy you beat. With the incumbent sheriff's cooperation with ICE. I will make a clear and uncompromising commitment to not cooperate with ICE. As sheriff, I will not honor ICE detainers, and we will not participate in ICE roundups, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In April of last year, you spoke to a group of ICE employees. Do you remember that?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, well, there was an article in a media organization, a media entity called the Assembly. Are you familiar with them? Do you remember?
I've heard of the Assembly, yes, sir.
Yeah, do you remember giving them an interview?
I give several interviews.
Sure. Yeah.
I actually don't remember that particular one, but I'm...
Okay. Well, here's what you said in the interview. apparently on the record. These ICE employees that you spoke to, you were referencing them, and you said, quote, they, these ICE officials, asked me, so Sheriff, if someone is about to be released from your jail and the detainer is about to expire, you will call us and let us know? What was my answer, you said? No, because that's not what the law says. No, I will not call ICE. End quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And, sir, Senator, that was before the new law, which is now House Bill 318, which requires me to make that second phone call.
Right. Yeah.
Prior to that, it was not state law, which I follow and all my deputies follow.
Sure.
And so now we do make that second phone call. But ICE agents are notified whenever someone is entered processed into my jail.
Do you need some water? Because I think your pants are on fire.
Okay.
Do you remember a gentleman by the name of Carlos Heriberto Mendoza Martinez?
Not right off, sir, no.
Okay. Sheriff, you should. He was in our country illegally from Mexico. He was in a street gang. Back in Mexico, he was convicted of manslaughter. And he was in your jail. And because in 2021 and 2024, Mr. Martinez was arrested for assaulting a woman and domestic violence. And ICE placed a detainer on this guy because he was in our country illegally. And he was a criminal. And he was in your jail. And you wouldn't honor that detainer, would you?
I can't say that I did not honor the detainer.
I can.
I can say what I did honor was the conditions of the release that were issued by a judge. And so, therefore, and once again, ICE was notified that they could come pick up this
Do you really
individual.
believe in public safety?
Yes, sir, I do.
You would allow someone in our country, illegally, convicted of manslaughter, convicted of domestic violence, in your jail. ICE says, please hold him when his time is up. We want to get this criminal out of our country. And you said no?
ICE was notified that they could come pick up the individual, and for some reason they did not. And the judge issued the conditions of release. I am a custodian. I do not determine who is released or held. I follow the court's order.
Sheriff, I don't mean any disrespect, but you ought to be ashamed of that. How can you possibly be for public safety if you hate our immigration laws so much that you would let a convicted murderer back on the street? Do you really hate immigration laws that much?
Senator, it's not a matter of that I hate immigration law.
You could have fooled me, Sheriff.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service. You're now in charge. I got to go vote.
All right, now you've seen the whole thing. Let me break it down. At the start, Kennedy asks the sheriff if he thinks border vetting is racist. The sheriff says no. He asks if people should violate immigration laws without consequences. The sheriff says no. On the surface, he sounds completely reasonable. But Kennedy doesn't accept the surface. He goes underneath it. And that's when he pulls out the 2018 campaign interview. I will make a clear and uncompromising commitment to not cooperate with ICE. As sheriff, I will not honor ICE detainers, and we will not participate in ICE roundups. That's not a misquote. That's not out of context. That's a man running for sheriff telling voters exactly what he planned to do, then sitting in front of a senator years later pretending he never said it. That's the real problem. Not just the policy, the dishonesty about the policy. Then Kennedy drops the second quote where the sheriff basically told ICE officials he would not call them before releasing a detainee. The sheriff tries to explain it away, saying the law has since changed, and he complies now. Okay, fine. But that's Kennedy's whole point. You had to be legislated into basic cooperation. You didn't get there on your own. Then we get to the moment that defines the whole video. Carlos Mendoza Martinez. This is not abstract policy anymore. This is a real person. Convicted of manslaughter in Mexico. In a street gang. Arrested in Durham for domestic violence. ICE puts a detainer on him while he's sitting in that sheriff's jail and says, "Please hold him. We're coming to get him." The sheriff's answer was no. His legal defense is that he follows the judge's release conditions and notified ICE they could come pick the man up. And look, there's something to that argument technically. Judges issue release orders. Sheriffs follow the court. But here's the problem. This sheriff built his entire political identity around not cooperating with ICE. He said it proudly. So when Martinez walks out of his jail and back into the community, you don't get to hide behind legal technicalities because you spent years celebrating the principle behind that exact outcome. You cannot say, "I believe in public safety, and I will make an uncompromising commitment to not cooperate with ICE and expect nobody to notice." Kennedy noticed, and he said it plainly. Do you really hate immigration laws that much? Was it sharp? Yes. But was it wrong? Based on everything laid out in that hearing, I don't think so. Here's my bottom line. Kennedy did exactly what elected officials are supposed to do. He held a public servant accountable using that person's own words. No cheap shots, no theatrics, just preparation and pointed questions. And in a world where hearings are mostly performance art, that actually means something. The sheriff came in saying one thing while the receipts proved another. And a real community paid a real price for it. This is what accountability looks like. We need more of it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this if it hit home, and I'll see you in the next one. You said, spot and pick 10 heated or controversial moments in the video and give me a controversial clickbait title suggestions each for this video. Make them savage and